Welcome to another edition of the channel's Mailbag. So what is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is the part of the channel that you guys actually control. It's based on comments, questions, general feedback that you guys leave either on the YouTube channel, the website, or through one of my social media feeds. Mailbag contains what I think the answer is, what I think my view of the comment is, or sometimes, I just throw it out to the wider audience and say, what do you guys think? That's what Mailbag is. So let's get in to the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. Next one comes from ElCharvo. And this was in response to a video I did a long time ago, setting up the Roland MX-1 for your environment. January 2016, when the channel was very young. ElCharvo writes, have the MX-1, but the compacts are so good they deserve their own compact mixer. What a great portable system it would make. Absolutely agree. It would make a really, really good portable system. Now, if you go back and think about this, it doesn't seem that long ago, but the Roland MX-1 was actually released about over 10 years ago. And the MX-1 has always had a problem. Nobody quite knew what it was meant for, because Roland tweaked with it and made it, there were three modes of operation. There was the surface mode, there was the mix mode, and then there was the extension mode. And at the time it was launched, it was there for the AIRA range of equipment, which consisted at the time of the TR8 drum machine, the TB3 bassline, the System 1 plug-out synthesizer, and the VC4 vocoder. They were the instruments that the AIRA system was released for. It had 4 USB sockets on the back of it for the 4 instruments. So the whole thing kind of stood together. And at the point it was released, it fulfilled the need of what it was released for. The problem was, Roland then went on to release a whole raft of other products based on this modelling technology that it developed for the AIRA range, and never went back and really looked at where the MX-1 fitted into that launch schedule. So, all these devices that were released by Roland, the compacts, the boutiques, whatever it happens to be, are all USB based devices. And you need, if you want a mixer like the MX-1, you need a USB based mixer. So that you could, and you also need a mixer that can power the devices as well, because the MX-1 doesn't have enough juice to power all the other mixers. I think I did a video called Powergenomics a long time ago where I explained all this thing, but the MX-1 has a USB power supply, has a 9-volt power supply that gives it 800 milliamps. The compacts, the boutiques take 500 milliamps. The mixer itself takes about 4. It doesn't take a genius to work out that you've not got enough there to power just one compact or one boutique properly, although they will run on 400 milliamps. But some of the other stuff might be a bit difficult, but that's reality. Now, I do believe somebody in Roland's R&D team, product development team, whichever they call it, should basically get a kick up the backside, because at the point the Roland MX-1 was launched, they really didn't know, or after it was launched, they kind of mixed it up in terms of, was it this mixer, was it this production centre, was it a surface? But in my mind, it's always been a doorless production mixer, linked to the area, the boutiques and the compacts. for both performance work and studio work. My guess is that they can't see many dollars in an MX-2, and that's the reason why it hasn't happened. The bottom line is, if they don't think it's going to make money, then they're not going to make the particular mixer, are they? And that, I think, is where the MX-2 or the potential MX-2 has sat. I'm not sure whether MX-1 made them money, and I think the reason why it might not have made them money is because they couldn't define what it was designed to do, and therefore MX-2 is, well, if you're going to release an MX mixer, what do you do with it? Now, the other thing about, Roland have always made decent mixers. There was a lot of musicians used the rack mount Roland mixer, the 24 track and the 16 track mixers that were produced by Roland in the sort of 80s and 90s. A lot of musicians used the Boss BX range, the BX8, 16 and 24. Was there a bigger one? Can't remember. I've got a 16, and I used the 16 for years in the flat. So Roland had a way of making decent mid-range mixers that bedroom producers could use, and they gave them a fairly reasonable time. So ElCharvo wrote back and said, totally agree with you, I still own the MX-1, but the form factor is too large for the stuff I'm doing. Well, fair enough. Korg bring out a new compact mixer, hopefully Roland will get their act together and do the same. Only time can tell. That's the reality of this, only time can tell. And the problem is, not another manufacturer can't easily step into this area and create a mixer that would fulfill the remit, because all of Roland's equipment, their USB drivers are non-standard and class compliant, which therefore means that you have to be able to interpret the driver to be able to plug it into somebody else's mixer. So not only have Roland produced something that that they're not replacing, they also have food-barred anybody else from replacing that thing as well. So we are where we are, I suppose. We'll just have to watch the space.